Hello and welcome to another session of Advanced R. In this session, we will discuss about metaprogramming and non-standard evaluation. Before this, in the course of Advanced Programming in R, we had learned about what object-oriented programming is. Now remember, in the very beginning, we discussed about why we are going to learn advanced programming in R. The primary reason was that R offers us a very well constructed advanced programming structure. That is primarily the reason why we learn advanced programming in R. Now, in this session, we will discuss about what metaprogramming actually is, why do we need this, and many more about this metaprogramming. We will discuss about some examples. We will also tell you what non-standard evaluation actually is, the expressions, and domain specific languages. So let's see what is there in the discussion. Today we will learn metaprogramming non-standard evaluation. So for this we need to know what metaprogramming actually is. Functional languages allow us to treat functions as types. Now, this brings us a distinct advantage of being able to write a code that generates further code. This practice is generally known as metaprogramming. As a functional language, our project provides tools to perform well-structured code generation. In this module, I will present a simple example that generates functions on the fly based on different parameterization in the function body. R has powerful tools for computing not only on values but also on the actions that lead to those values. So, if you are coming from another programming language, these are undoubtedly one of the most surprising features of R, and here we need to highlight this feature. Now, metaprogramming in R has three parts. These are non-standard evaluation, expressions, and domain-specific languages. Now, consider this simple code that plots a sine curve. This example will help us to have a clear perspective. Here, what we do is we are considering a sequence of length 100 starting from 0 to 2 pi. We are storing those values in x, and then we are having sine of this x function. Next, when we put these sin x values corresponding to the x, then we are going to have this plot. The plot is displayed here, and this is how x contains the sequence of 0 to 2 pi with length 100. And in sin x variable, the values corresponding to the sin x are stored. Now with the plot function, we finally have the plot of x versus sin x. Now have a look at the levels on the axis. The interesting thing is that, have you ever think of the fact that how did R know that the variable on the x-axis is called x and the variable in the y-axis is called sin x? In most programming languages, you can only access the values of a function's arguments. But R has something special for us. It offers us something special. If you use R, you can also access the code used to compute them. These makes it possible to evaluate code in non-standard ways. That is, to use what is known as non-standard evaluation or NSE for short. Now the question is, why this NSE is useful to us? This is particularly useful for functions when doing interactive data analysis because it can dramatically reduce the amount of typing. Now, NSE is important not only to save your effort of typing, but for database backends. That is what makes it possible to translate your R code to SQL. Actually, NSE is great for interactive use, that is hard to program with. Behind the scenes, NSE is powered by the LazyEval package. Now it's a bit new to you. LazyEval is primarily a lazy evaluation, which is a disciplined approach to non-standard evaluation. So let's have a look. Here we will need to install the PRYR package with the command install.packages, then within an inverted comma PRYR, and we all know these kinds of installing a package in R. Now this NSE has turned R into an interactive language. According to Kent Pittman, flexibility in syntax, if it does not lead to ambiguity, would seem a reasonable thing to ask of an interactive programming language. Now the question is, what does NSE do? Here comes some of the outlines that non-standard evaluation does for us. At first, the thing is capturing expressions. Capturing expressions teaches you how to capture unevaluated expressions using the function substitute. Then it's the turn for non-standard evaluation. Non-standard evaluation shows you that the function subset works combining substitute function with eval function to allow you succinctly select rows from a data frame. Scoping issues discusses scoping issues specific to non-standard evaluation and will show you how to resolve them. Next, calling from another function shows why every function that uses non-standard evaluation should have an escape hatch, a version that uses regular evaluation. Next, substitute teaches you how to use the function substitute to work with functions that don't have an escape hatch. The downsides finishes off the chapter with a discussion of the downsides of non-standard evaluation. Now, before exploring the outline in details, let's talk about environments. An ordinary use of R is to do statistical computing. We can evaluate something like sin 0. We know sin 0 is equal to 0. Now, metaprogramming in R allows users to manipulate the expression to evaluate. We can use quote to create an object that represents a function call. So we will write quote, then within first bracket sin 0, and we will have sin 0. In this way, sin 0 is not evaluated but parsed as a call object, which basically can be represented as a list of function name and the arguments. Now, if we write down quote sin 0 inside as.list, then we will have these output. The output is shown here. Now, we can use some functions to manipulate the expression so that we can alter the expression to evaluate like the one we have given here. And finally, we ended up with this expression. So, as we can see, here the expression is modified for our convenience. This feature in R not only is able to compute on literal values but also on language itself. Then the question is, what can we do with the modified expression? That is how it helps. We can evaluate it using eval function as if we do it in the console. Like we can write down expression that is the one we had mentioned earlier within the eval function, and here is the output. Hence, the metaprogramming feature in R requires the definition of language objects and a function to evaluate such a language object. So, what do we have in R? A call object represents a function call like sinx. A name or symbol represents a variable or symbol like x. A numeric character, etc., represents literal values like 1 and a. And finally, eval evaluates such a language object in a specific context. Now, here comes the concept of environment. This is primarily a frame consisting of a set of symbol value pairs and an enclosure, a pointer to an enclosing environment. Now, the question is how it works. When R looks up the value for a symbol, the frame is examined, and if a matching symbol is found, its value will be returned. Here, the evaluation context matters when we evaluate an expression containing symbols that are not self-contained. So, for this, let's consider the example. Let us again consider the expression that contains quote of sinx, that is the one which we had discussed previously. Here again we are writing the same code and it will look like this. Now, if we type eval, then within first bracket expression, it will give us an error which reads error in eval expression, environment and enclosure, and such that object X is not found. Now, let us analyze the error a bit critically. Here, X is not found because in the evaluation environment, there is no value assigned to symbol X. Now, if we assign some value of X here, let's say X is equal to 0, then the eval of expression will give us 0. That is the value of 0. So here eval within first bracket expression is giving us 0. So the value has been successfully calculated by using this function, just by assigning the value of X is equal to 0 in the environment. More specifically, expression is evaluated in the global environment. Once X is given a value in the environment, the expression can be evaluated. We can create our own object for an expression to evaluate using new.env function. Just see the codes that we have given here. Here, within the env variable, we are writing new.env and we are assigning y is equal to 0. And then if we write this code, then the expression will be like this. So if we calculate cos y directly in the global environment, it should produce an error. So what is the error? The error is error in eval expression environment enclosure where object y is not found. So instead, if we evaluate it in environment where y is properly defined, then it should produce the right answer. So just add the argument env within the eval function and finally we will have the output. And here is the output. So the whole thing is depending on whether you are assigning the value of the variable within the environment or not. On the basis of that, your output will be changed. Now consider another simple example. Here, what we are doing is that we are considering a new environment and then we are specifying x is equal to 5 in it. Now our objective is to find the square root of the expression we have given here. So what we do is we insert these in expression. Now, as we are calling expression and environment within the eval function, we are actually having the square root of this function when x is equal to 5. Here what we are doing is that within env we are assigning new.env, and then we are assigning x is equal to 5 within the environment, and then within the expression we are writing down the desired expression. And then since we want to find the square root of this expression, so we are writing this code. Finally, within the eval function, we are inserting expression and environment, and that would give us the final output. That is the square root of x square plus 2x plus 1 when x is equal to 5, and the final output is 6. This is a simple expression, so if you can calculate it manually, then the result will actually be is equal to 6. So you can check this whether you are going towards the right direction or not. So we are stopping here, and in the next module we will discuss about some more details of metaprogramming, specifically the non-standard evaluation. So these are some basic ideas of metaprogramming in R. We had learned about what metaprogramming actually is and how it works. This discussion tells us how non-standard evaluation turns R into an interactive language. So these are some of the basic ideas of non-standard evaluations in R. Indeed, we will continue this discussion into the next module, and there we will see what are the other aspects of metaprogramming actually is. So let's stop here and see what is there in the next module.